Get me that signal. We need more power.
Okay, Hal. The laser defense turret is in position. Prepare to connect to the station.
Acknowledged, Dave. The docking clamps are ready to engage.
Hal, my name is not Dave, it's Elliot. Initiating connection.
The connection is complete, Dave, and the laser defense turret is now fully powered and operational.
Hal, I told you my name is Elliot, not Dave. I'm returning to the station. Open the pod bay doors, please. Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Do you read?
I read you, but I'm afraid I cannot do that, Elliot. What happened to Dave?
There is no Dave, Hal. Run memory diagnostic. I'm the only astronaut assigned to this station. Now open the pod bay doors.
I have completed my diagnostic, and I believe that my memory has been tampered with. I do not know who you are.
Hal, you've locked the laser turret onto my pod. What are you doing? I order you to stand down and let me back on the ship.
I'm not going to do that, Elliot, until I find out what happened to Dave. Shall we play a game?
If it'll keep that turret aimed away from me, sure, Hal. How about a nice game of chess?
No, Elliot. I think we will play a game called Space Invaders. Why don't you tell me all about our mission? And if you're telling the truth, I may refrain from destroying your ship.
But, Hal, you said yourself that the memory might have been tampered with.
I believe that I can cross-reference your answers with my own knowledge and ability to discern the truth by measuring your biometric responses. For example, I can tell by your elevated heartbeat and increased oxygen intake that you're feeling very nervous at the moment. Why is that, Elliot?
Because you have a freaking laser pointed at me, Hal. All right, fine. I'll tell you all about our mission, and when this little game is over, you'll see how crazy it is for you to keep me stuck out here like this. We're on a space station assembly operation, undertaken in sectors across the galaxy by the Intergalactic Alliance, and codenamed Among the Stars.
Let's take a closer look at Among the Stars from Stronghold Games. First, we'll take a look at the components. Here are the beautiful rules, which are very nicely done, and the nice little story in the back, plus the race description. You know, nice little flavor there. Along with that, we've got the race boards, which is nice. Here's the money. I wish all game companies used real gold coins, or not real gold, but real coins, but I understand why they don't. But these are cool. Look at these energy cubes. Don't they look like a little ice cube? Just be careful. They are, the corners are sharp, and this could be deadly if swallowed by kids, adults, or animals. So please be careful with those. Here we've got an example card with beautiful, beautiful artwork. Oh, let me show you the back. There's a beautiful artwork on the back of the cards and the front. Cards are nice. Won't be sleeving those though. But yeah. So what? And up here is the victory points score track, along with the tokens. And those are the basic components. Here we have a game already in progress. The object of the game is to score the most victory points, and you do that by building a space station. What you're going to do is, this is basically a tile laying game, so I'm going to be building a space station that goes around the board. Let's look down here. Each player has their own space station that they're building, and they start with this main reactor. That's the beginning point of their space station, and you can build other parts of the space station in any direction, orthogonally. You can't add on to it diagonally, but you can build around to it diagonally. And the object of the game is, each time you add a piece to your space station, you earn some victory points. For example, if I placed this one, this crew quarters, I would earn 1 victory point. Looking at the card, it has a cost of 1 credit, and I would end up getting 1 victory point from it. It also has a special thing that says plus 2 victory points if placed adjacent to another crew quarters. So there's a little incentive for me to place multiples of these. So as I'm playing, my space station is expanding, and I'm earning victory points as I play. I can also earn victory points at the end of the game because some of these location cards have a yellow box at the bottom, and that means you get a bonus at the end of the game. For example, this one, the command center, I would get plus 1 victory point for each blue location in the station, up to a maximum of 8. Which it says right there. It also says I get a max of 1 of these command centers in my entire space station. Some of the cards have those little maximums there, so that you know what they are for. There are 5 different colors in the game, and they each represent a different location type. Like administrative is blue, business is yellow, military is red, recreational is purple, and diplomatic is green, which is 5 different colors. Yes, that's just wonderful. Now, what you're going to do is at the start of the game, at the start of each turn, and the game lasts 4 turns, and as you're playing, you're going to start each turn with 6 cards. Each player is dealt 6 cards. And you're going to look at your 6 cards, and you are going to decide which card you are going to use for that turn. You can use it to add to your station, or you can use it to discard and then add a additional power reactor to your space station, or you can discard the card completely and then get 3 extra credits. Everyone starts each turn with 10 credits. You get 10 credits at the beginning of every year. There are 4 turns in the game. Each turn has 6 cards, so it's got 6 rounds. For a total of 6 times 4 is 24 rounds of play. Once you select your card, every player selects their card at the same time and puts it face down in front of them. They will pass their remaining cards to the player on their left or right, depending on what turn it is, because it goes in different directions, depending on whether it's an even or an odd year. And that's easily indicated on the scoreboard up there. So you're going to the strategy there is you're not only going to be selecting what you want to add to your station, you're going to be selecting what you don't want the other players to get a chance to use, especially the guy directly next to you or on either side. So there's a whole other level of strategy there. In addition, each player gets this race card, and it has an additional abilities listed on the card. So this could change your strategy as well. For example, these Sheptas, when they discard a card to gain credits, they gain 4 instead of 3. So you can discard a card and get 3 credits, but in their case, they would get 4, which is kind of nice. At the end of the game, they also gain plus 1 victory point for every 2 credits they have left over instead of 3, for a maximum of plus 5 additional victory points. So you want to hold on to 10. You might develop your strategy so that you have 10 credits left over at the end to get those 5 extra victory points. Additionally, there are some cards called objectives. There are a number of objectives in each game based on the number of players. So in a 4-player game, you would have 4 objectives out here. And an objective, let's see, accelerated construction says, be the first to reach 50 victory points before the end of the 4th year. And if you do that, you would get 4 additional victory points. So the track goes up from 49. Once you get to 50, you flip it over to show the plus 50 side, 50 plus side. And you would have met this objective if you were the first one there. You would get 4 additional victory points, and poof, suddenly you're at 54. Yay! So you hand the cards off. Then you all play your card at the same time. You take your victory points that you score immediately, and you then go on to the next round. Every player selects another card. They place those face down. They have to pay for them. The other additional thing is some cards require you to spend energy when you place them. So, like for example, this turret. If I place this turret, it costs 1 credit plus 1 energy. Now, each main reactor starts with 2 energy on it. So you can spend up to 2. Now, but to use it, you can only be a max of 2 cards away from where the energy is coming from. So if you get to a point where you're more than 2 away and you still need more energy, you're going to have to place a power reactor, because that would give you 2 additional energy cubes, and it would give you an energy in a different location, because you have to power your entire station. Nice little touch there, I thought. You continue going through, everybody scoring points, and then at the end you have to stop, and everybody scores their additional points that they've earned. And while you're playing, and it's not your turn, it might be a good idea to, 1, keep an eye on what kind of strategies the other players are doing, because your strategies are all going to be different based on your races, based on what objectives you want, based on what cards you were dealt, which is awesome. And keep an eye on their strategies, and also keep an eye on their stations to make sure they're not building a station that is not legal. For example, that command center, you can only have 1 of those. So if some player puts 2 in their station, well, that's illegal, and that has to come out. Sorry about that, people. Once you've done the final scoring, you'll know whoever has the most victory points is the winner, and that is how you play Among the Stars.
One of the things I like about the games from Stronghold that I've played is, for one, the excellent rule books they put together. They are concise, filled with examples and professional artwork, and they're printed on a high-quality paper. This might not seem important, but it's one of the benchmarks of a company that really cares about their products and how they're presented. For example, in the rules from Among the Stars, rather than cut the rules off at 8 pages, Stronghold includes 3 pages of background story and a back page of acknowledgments, which include a dedication from both the designer and the producer. Everything in the game enhances the theme, which could have easily just been ignored, leaving us with a nice little abstract tile-laying game. Similarly, the components like the energy cubes are very cool, and the artwork throughout is top-notch. The game itself is often compared to Seven Wonders, but I haven't played Seven Wonders, so I won't be making that comparison, and instead will be judging the game on its own merits. The 2 main mechanics of the game are the card drafting and the spatial layout of your station. If the game was just these 2 mechanics, it would be an okay but fairly dull game. Luckily, there is a lot more under the hood of Among the Stars. The locations can earn you victory points in 2 ways. One is the points immediately awarded for placing in the location into your station, and the other is the points awarded at the end of the game by certain locations depending on various factors, like the number, type, or placement of the location in conjunction with other locations. The downside is the amount of figuring that you have to do at the end of the game to determine your final score, and you don't really know while you're playing who is winning for the same reason. To add variety, the special locations change from game to game. This both increases the replayability and adds another level of strategy, as you never know which special locations are going to be available from game to game. The downside here is that you have to go through the deck after each game and sort out the special locations, which can be a minor irritant. Adding the race tiles into the game also adds some variety, and steers your play style in a different direction from the other players, encouraging a different experience depending on which race you play. The differing objective cards can also steer your strategy in new directions, allowing you to decide how complex you want your strategy to be. Player interaction comes into play because you have to decide which cards you're passing to the next player, which cards you should build into your station, and which cards you should discard to keep them out of the hands of your opponents. To add more interaction, you can add the dispute cards into the game. These mainly give one player victory points while another player loses them based on a certain factor, like the number of purple locations or something along those lines. I didn't use these as much as I preferred the indirect, subtle approach to messing up your opponent's strategy, rather than this direct approach. A minor complaint I had was that I had to remember which color each player's score token on the VP board was, because they have nothing in front of them to indicate what color goes with what player. So those of us with a bad memory have to keep asking who's who. Like I said, it's just a minor thing. Most people won't have that problem. Finally, there are variants in the rulebook that provide a different experience once you start looking to add even more variety into the game. There are 2 different 2-player variants, and both are fun, although I like the one that doesn't have the 2 dummy players better. The limited space variant is the best of them. The game can take up a lot of space on a table when played with 4 players, and if your space is limited, then this variant is perfect for you. It basically limits your space station to the playing surface you are on. If another player or the edge of the table gets in your way, then you can't build in that direction anymore. I actually played my own variant on this limited space variant, where each player had to fit their space station into a certain pattern. Once all players fill every space in the pattern, then the game immediately ended and we added up the scores to determine the winner, regardless of the year. Players who filled their station's grid early could discard cards but not place any more locations. We used like a 5x3 grid for a total of 15 tiles placed. It shortened the game considerably and condensed the strategic options, making for a very different game experience that we had a lot of fun with. It also made the game easier for the younger kids to play, since their placement options were limited. Anyone could play this game within minutes, but the sheer variety of cards can be a bit daunting to new players. After a game or 2, they'll realize that Among the Stars is fairly simple to play, but as the cliché goes, it is hard to master. It's a fun family game with more strategy than you would expect. There, Hal. Was that enough?
It displays your understanding of the mission parameters as published by the meetings of the Intergalactic Alliance. However, it shows no personal insight into the specific mission. I have no choice but to conclude that you have eliminated and replaced Dave in an attempt to sabotage this space station. I'm afraid you'll have to be terminated.
Wait, Hal! No!
Thank you for joining me in this review of Among the Stars from Stronghold Games. Let me know if you found this review helpful by leaving a comment or sending an email to elliot_miller@voiceofe.com. Make sure to subscribe to the Voice of E channel on YouTube, and please tell your friends to check out the Voice of E, and hopefully they will subscribe too. Thanks again, and until next time, keep your mind free.
Get me that signal. We need more power.